The seasonal depression has well and truly kicked in. It is so freaking cold in Melbourne and I hate it. I've had 2 inquiry calls this morning that I forgot to record. I've been wanting to record them for you so you can sort of see my process a bit, but anyway, I just didn't do it. But something I'm noticing with a lot of inquiries lately is they just want to hire me as a shooter. They just want to hire me to capture the content and then hand off all of the deliverables to them to edit internally. And it's something that I'm like struggling with quoting sometimes, because I don't know, I think I approach quoting I know some people quote per project and it's very like, sometimes they just pick a number out of their ass, right? I'm not like that, because to me, it has to make sense. It has to make sense. I work out the logistics of how it needs to be shot, how many locations, how much time, how much talent, the amount of camera equipment I'm using, and what the final deliverables are gonna look like, as well as like travel or any props that need to be purchased. I quote for all of that. I don't quote based on value. I find that personally very hard to figure out, make it make sense, and to maintain a consistency when you're, re-quoting for a different project. So I find that I just go the more literal route. And so when clients come to me and they just want me to quote out to shoot an event and it's like 2 hours of filming, I'm like, I'm struggling to quote it, because if I was just to charge 2 hours of filming, it's kind of not worth my time. But when it's like, I'm editing a project, cool, there's pre-production involved, there's the editing and all of that. And that total dollar value makes it worth it. Like, I used to have set packages, right? And so back in the day, my set packages for a 2-hour event shoot was $17.50. So I was getting paid $17.50 to go shoot an event for 2 hours and create a 60-second video from. Great money. Absolutely worth my time. But now I'm getting like 2-hour call outs to shoot video with no audio, no lighting. And on paper, if I charge that out at my hourly rate of $300, I get paid $600. And like, it's kind of not worth my time. Like, traveling to and from the city, that's an hour each side. That's basically a half day gone. It's not just a half day though. It kind of like bleeds into more than that. And then it's like, it's like this battle of like, I don't want to overcharge the client, but I need it to be worth my time, So that's currently like a bit of a thing that I'm trying to work through and work out how to quote appropriately. Because like I said, I don't want to be overcharging a client, but it does need to be worth my time. And a 2-hour shoots are the most dickiest shoots in the freaking world, especially if you're not doing the editing. Anyway, I think another aspect of why I'm struggling so much is because it's potentially a really good connection. So there's that trade-off of like, I want to quote appropriately and build that relationship and build that rapport so then they do come back to me for more. But I also don't want to set the standard that I'm super happy to just do a 2-hour shoot. So tomorrow I'm doing a shoot with a client I did a shoot with a few months back. It's a product-based company that I just create meta ads for, basically. And this time they want to do a podcast style shoot. So I'm doing a 3-camera setup. I'm making it look like a podcast, but it's just to create video ads. There's some scripted moments, there's some natural kind of moments that they want to capture, but it should be pretty chill. My wife is actually really good friends with the owner, and so she's always the model in these shoots, so it's really fun working with her. The 3 cameras I'm going to roll with for this shoot are FX3, A7 IV, and the A7 C2 that I'm filming on right now. This will be the first time I'm actually using the A7 IV as a second cam alongside my FX3. So it will be a good test because I still am planning on selling my A7S III. For lenses, I think I'm gonna go pretty safe and go 70 to 200, 24 to 70, and 16 to 35. Everything I'm shooting is for ads, so it's all vertical. So with the 16 to 35, what I plan on doing is shooting wide enough that I can get a vertical crop for both people speaking on camera without them being, you know, too far to the edges and they look quite distorted and skewed from the wide angle lens. The studio manager is going to be there tomorrow, so I won't really need to manage audio. They're going to record it for me, but I will just take microphones as a backup. For lighting, I've had a look at the space. It's pretty small, and because I'm doing 3 cameras, you know, 1 wide and then 1 tight shot on each speaker, I am thinking that I'm gonna try and set up an overhead lantern to sort of act as a key. And then I'll set up a backlight for each. And then I think they said that they have some lights at the studio that we can use as like background floor accent lights. So we'll definitely be using those too. Early in the week, I was talking about how I was struggling to quote out for a job. I actually emailed the client and was super transparent, and I wanted to read it out to you guys to give you the update. Cool, so when I quoted her for the 2-hour call out, I said, for context on future quotes, a full day weekend call out for the same event coverage with minimal equipment wouldn't be billed at $400 per hour. This rate is specific to a 2-hour call out. It looks like you do a lot of events in Melbourne, so I just wanted to share that info with you. So this client is the same client who hired me and Heather to do the photo shoot last week. So they've already hired me on for another shoot, so that's why I thought I would let them know and be really transparent that it's because you're hiring me on a weekend to do a 2-hour call out. But in saying that, I also think that maybe I just need to move to doing a half-day minimum call out if I'm not doing the whole project. Like if I'm just shooting it and supplying footage to the client, it's a half-day call out. Because otherwise it's not worth my time. Like it makes it worth my time when there's pre-production, when there's post-production and all of that. So when it's just the shooting, I think I need to just do a half day. It's easy to forget. Again, I think my brain just works so literally. And I'm like, a 2-hour hire, yeah, I'm gonna charge you 2 hours. I don't know. It's a confusing one because then I also think it on the flip with photography, like we have a photography 2-hour minimum hire. So then why is the video a 4-hour minimum hire when it's more expensive? I would love, whoever's watching this, leave your thoughts down in the comments because I think it's a discussion that I would love to have with other people in the industry because yeah, it's kind of something that I'm like constantly like rethinking and overthinking. But yeah, I would love to hear how you do it. Anyway, I've got a lot of gear to pack for this shoot tomorrow, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'll be showing you all of the behind the scenes from the shoot. I ended up going with an overhead key light in the middle of them and then a backlight on either side of them. In the 2 tight camera angles, you could actually see the backlight, like you could see the light stand. So I ended up just booming them out overhead so you couldn't see those light stands. And as I was doing this, I asked my wife for a sandbag and, you know, she was locked in. She's mentally ready to be on camera. She's, you know, thinking about what she's going to say. And so she takes the sandbag off of the C-stand and then my C-stand falls. It was like my worst nightmare, but I'm very, very glad nobody was in frame and no cameras got knocked over because that would have been bad. It just kind of like bent my lantern a little bit, but it was fine. I'm really grateful no one got hurt. I used 3 camera angles for this shoot. The FX3 with the 16 to 35 was the wide camera angle. I had the Sony A7C II with the 70 to 200 just on Lizzie. And then I had the A7 IV with the 24 to 70 just on Adam. Now for audio, the podcast manager, Sarah, used the podcast mics they had already set up. And then just for a redundancy audio file, I set up the Hollyland Lark M2 microphones and I just magneted them to the podcast mic stands. I originally took my Rode Wireless GoPros to mic up both talent, but when I went to set it up on the day, one of the microphones was dead. Like they had been in their charging case, but obviously it just wasn't like plugged in properly. And so one of them was completely flat, but luckily enough, I actually packed a backup microphone. I had to do a fair bit of finessing their placement to make all camera angles look good and allow myself to crop a really clean vertical frame off of the wide FX3 camera angle. Originally they were placed kind of like at the back of that rug. Then I got them to shuffle forward. I got them to face a bit more forward to the cameras, but then the tight camera angle just didn't look that good. So there was a lot of maneuvering to get them in the perfect position, but I feel like I'm really happy with how all of these frames look when they're cropped vertically. There were certain videos that were just speaking with Lizzie, and then there were certain videos that was just Adam, the owner of the business. And so I changed the framing up slightly for each of those videos. And then at the end of the shoot, they just went into like a podcast style free talk session because they talk really well with each other, they banter really well, and we got some really like natural conversations flowing, and they just spoke about like a specific topic at one time. And here are some of the final frames. I shot wide enough that I could crop a vertical frame for each of the speakers, as well as having that tight camera angle on each of them. So it's pretty rare that I do location recce's for multiple reasons. Like a lot of the time the clients don't have budget, the shoot is quite run and gun, or there's just no time before the client wants to actually do the shoot. But I've got a project coming up in 2 weeks' time with my local council, and it's like 2 days of shooting. It's kind of like a bit of a tourism-y-ish kind of campaign. We've got a bunch of different locations, cafes, restaurants, some indoor stuff, some outdoor stuff. And I actually asked the client to do a location recce with me so we could just make sure we're able to mitigate anything that could be an issue prior to the day. Because we also have talent coming along, so there's a lot of people involved and we just kind of want smooth sailing. So I was watching a vlog the other day from another Melbourne videographer called Ben. Shout out to Ben. I'll link his channel down below if you want to go check out his stuff. He was talking about how he went and did a location recce and how he wishes he took a 360 camera to the location to actually have a sus. And so that's exactly what I did. I took some photos on my phone. So I used an app where I could see how the sun is going to affect the location at certain parts of the day. But the 360 camera footage is actually freaking genius. Like being able to just go back and look at the footage and see if there's anything you missed, or if you need to confirm specific details that you might not have taken a photo of. Like, it's pretty cool, and it's so easy. You just stick it up on a stick and then just walk around the space. So it worked really, really well. So if you have a 360 camera, I highly, 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 highly recommend, there's a lot of highlies, I recommend that you take it to your next location recce because it's actually going to come in super handy.